I think our problem is that we think having a challenge is stagnance. We think that hitting a wall means that you've stopped moving.
Hey guys, welcome to the anchoredsa podcast.
Hello everyone.
Happy New Week. Hope you guys had a great week. Happy Friday, TGIF,
The weekend.
It's the weekend, baby. Yeah. Hope you guys had a good week. How was your week?
My week was interesting. My week was interesting. I've had a hectic week. I won't lie. My week was horrible. It wasn't interesting. It was horrible. So we dropped our first episode last week.
Actually, thank you guys so much for the love.
Yes.
We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We appreciate the love big time. So this week has just been very hectic. I've been busy with editing. And like the editing was also dribbling me because it's very new to me. And it was overwhelming. I remember, I think on Tuesday, I was crying. I was literally crying. Okay, I wasn't crying, but like I was reaching my breaking point, and I was like, Yazine, I am not sleeping until I get this episode done. And then I managed to do it. And then but otherwise, other things happened. Life happened, and it's just been feeling overwhelming. I won't lie.
Yeah.
I've been feeling also very anxious, and like I'm having to constantly ask myself, how are you feeling? Do you need to stop? Do you need to switch off? And I needed to switch off, honestly. So I think we can tell them that we record on Mondays.
Yeah,
so we don't record this on Friday.
That would be tragic.
Yes. But yes, you've
none of us would want that. Yeah.
So I had to switch off for the past weekend, and life happened, funerals and stuff. But I also had to switch off because I've just been feeling like,
you do a lot.
Exactly.
He does a little bit too much.
Not too much. I think I enjoy being busy.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
I enjoy it. And like every time I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I always tell myself, but this is what you asked for. This is what you've been praying for. You've been praying for busyness. And like now it's happening. But anyway, that's my life. I'm gonna sort it out.
You should.
How has your week been?
Guys, it's not a lot. Not a lot has been happening.
You're back at work now.
Yes, I'm back at work, which is great. So that's amazing. I really, really love the job that I do, and I don't like calling it a job. I don't want to sound cliche and deep.
It's a calling.
It's a calling. But I really do enjoy what I do, and it's sort of an answered prayer. What we talked about last week before we go too deep.
What did we talk about?
When we were talking
I was not there.
Well, when we were talking about casting our vision, when we asked you guys to just have stuff to write down and pray for.
I hope you did that, by the way.
Yeah, I really hope you did that. So for me, when I got this job again, well, I worked there before. I remember during that week, I'm like, God, like, please. I remember I had tried everything. I had tried applying there and there. I remember going out on that Sunday, and then I would ask, there was a manager at the restaurant I was at, and I just asked, like, I guess maybe like hiring and stuff, and they're like, no, because of the virus, blah, blah, blah. So I remember I'm like, but wait, I didn't ask God anything about this. I'm trying to do everything by myself. So I was like, God, please just do something. And he did. So guys, don't try to do everything your own. But that's just a side note. But my week is okay. I just kind of hate that I'm feeling like I'm stuck in a rut.
What type of rut?
As in, like, I'm in
productivity.
Not necessarily. I am pretty productive, like more productive than I've been in child. So I just feel like I'm at a place where I'm uncertain, and I hate that. uncertainty. Let's put it that way. So because of that uncertainty, I somehow feel stuck. Does that make sense?
It does. I was about to ask you more questions, and then I remembered that we're recording. I was gonna be like, "How are you anxious? What's wrong? Tell me more."
That's the kind of friend Atla is, guys. Like, he's the guy I go to when I feel going through the most.
If you want an event, hit me up.
No, for real.
No, don't, please, no. Get a therapist.
No, for real, man.
Get a therapist.
But yeah, I kind of feel like that, but I'm starting to see things still also come together slowly.
Materializing.
Yeah, I see things materializing. And yeah, but then I was in some sort of rut this past week. I'm so uncertain about the future so badly that I hate thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm generally a person who dreams a lot, who aspires a lot. Like, I'm always that person who's like ambitious. You know. So I'm generally that person who's like, okay, so in the next so I'd like to have this done. But I realized this past week that I haven't been doing that a lot because I'm too scared to end up being disappointed. Right? But this morning, the song I was telling you about, when I was listening to it, I remember during the fast reading some scripture I forgot. It said something about how God says he will do as he's promised, and I know he has promised that. So one thing keeping me sane, because if not for that, guys, like, even I feel even physically weak. That's how it's been for the past week. Just this morning, it's when I was reminded of that, and it's something I'm trying to make sure I keep on. And and like I said, I spoke a bit about a previous episode. If you haven't yet checked it out, go ahead and do just that. We're talking about casting your vision, about
setting a plan for the year.
Setting a plan for the year, or praying for the plan for the year, you know, depending on however it is that, you know, you feel led. And we thought, like, why not further on and go on about that and talk about, you know, being consistent in the vision, because we talked about casting the
working
vision.
through the vision.
And what happens now as we work through the vision, maybe where you feel like how we're feeling anxious. I feel uncertain. You know, I try not to think too much about the future. It's sad, but you know, what happens when you're at a place like that? And what, you know, do we need in terms of like having to continue?
Sticking to the plan.
Sticking to the plan, basically.
Yeah, I think to get it started, I looked at the week I had and I'm like, yo, this was a very horrible week. It really was. It actually was.
I don't mean to laugh. The reason I'm laughing, I'm like, wow, damn.
I really didn't want to admit
Life
it.
really does happen.
Yeah, I really didn't want to admit it, but it's been a horrible week. And I was talking to my brother this morning, and I realized how horrible it was because I was actually venting. I never thought about it consciously, that wow, this was actually a horrible week. But it was. And now I'm thinking that what got me through the week? What got me through the week? Because there were times where I felt like, yo, I just want to fall apart and go back to old habits I'm trying to get rid of. I talked about how I'm taking a break from alcohol, and I remember on Friday I just felt like, yo, I just need a drink. And I guess it wouldn't have been bad to get a drink, because I'm not trying to stop completely. I'm just trying to cut it out a bit more. But anyway, I remember thinking, yeah, no, I need a drink. And I'm asking myself, what got me through that phase? What got me through the phase of trying, of considering reverting back to old habits, you know? And I remember the one thing that got me through was the week before. So the week before, just to, give you an update, I was feeling very, very, very happy with my life. Oh, how things change, how the tables turn. I was...
Yeah, we confirming situations, guys.
I was feeling very content and happy, and I again, I was talking to my brother because we have a weekly check-in, and I was telling him how happy I am and like how I'm just so, blissful. And I remember even in my devotions, I wasn't reading the Bible that week. I was just having worship every single day. Woke up, worship, and I was feeling like, yo, guys,
on clouds.
look at God, And a few days later, they changed completely. But I remember like throughout the past week, the one thing that got me through the week was remembering that, going back to that place of bliss, remembering how happy I was, remembering how content I was, and I think that's what got me through. It genuinely was, because I remember thinking, wow, I appreciate that moment of contentment even more when I'm in this time. And I think it was good for me to have this week where everything was just horrible, everything was falling out of place. My phone died.
Yo.
Yeah, like guys, it was bad. It was bad. I'm not joking. It was bad. And yeah, I was more appreciative of God in that moment, because I just felt like, wow, God, like you are there you are there in the good times and the bad. Like even despite having this horrible week, I still saw how you showed up clutch for me. I still saw how the vision is materializing. If I'm being honest, because even with the podcast, I talked about how the editing was dribbling me. It was training me flames, guys. It takes time, and also it's very new for me. I was used to recording the old videos, the Zoom videos.
Yeah, and the Zoom was easier.
Yeah, it was.
By then we had even divided the work and stuff.
And like also the uploading, because like the video was like 15 gigs long.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it took forever to upload, and I remember feeling like, let's just stop recording, let's just delete everything and go back to our lives. But I remember thinking, wow, actually, like I'm moving, I'm going somewhere, it might be difficult, it might be painful, but I'm actually growing, I'm learning, but I'm also seeing this podcast moving forward. And I also remember hearing comments from people about like how they're inspired by the first episode, and I'm like, wow, actually, like, that got me through the week. I think what got me through the week was the remembrance of the vision, remembering, what God and I had set out. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it perfectly does.
Yeah, like it's genuinely what got me through this horrible week. Hopefully this week is better. But yeah, just remembering the vision is what helped me through this week. What helped you through the week? What helped you get through the week? Because we're here, so you definitely got here somehow.
I think for me it's community. I will say that. For me it's community. That's the one thing that has gotten me through the week. And because I have a lot of people I do surround myself with who are constantly encouraging me, who I'm constantly encouraged by, even though they do not notice. And yeah.
Do you want to give them a shout out over here?
I'll give a shout out to Kuku. I give a shout out to Witu Melo. I give a shout out to you too. No, for real, guys. I have really amazing people around me. And yeah, so when it comes to continue with the vision, one thing I do, like I told you guys, how I told you that I write down, right? I wrote down the stuff that, I would love to see take place. I'm laughing because I was going through them. Here's what I do for me. What I do is I go through them. Sunday is my reflection day. Like there are people who I help like be accountable, who are accountable to me. So after that, after talking to them and stuff, I also like go through my stuff. I don't really have an accountability partner much yet, but I do go through my stuff. I recap on the week. And I just look at what is it that I was able to achieve that week, right? Because I realized that sometimes we feel stuck without realizing that somehow we are moving.
We are moving, yeah.
We genuinely are moving because usually, sometimes even look over maybe just the period of 2 weeks, like you did. You looked at the week before this hectic one, and then you realized that actually there was a move. And even in your anxiousness and the state of like, it's just a lot, there was movement.
Exactly.
And I realized it's the same for me, that there is movement. And I think it's usually hard to see it when nothing really makes sense.
When you're in the eye of the storm.
When you're in the eye of the storm,
Yeah.
you can't see that maybe you are moving. So I think that's one of the stuff to take note of, actually, that when you're feeling stuck, or maybe how to continue the vision when it feels like it's just a lot. Just reflect, pause and reflect if you have to.
I think our problem is that we think having a challenge is stagnance. We think that hitting a wall means that you've stopped moving. And sometimes the thing that happens is that you hit the wall and then you bounce back, or like you move again. Sometimes you hit the wall and you crash into it and it breaks apart.
And you move.
Exactly.
Still.
Like you stop for like 2 seconds, because I'm looking at my week and I'm like, even in all of that, messiness, I still functioned. And I think we undermine how functionable.
Functionability.
Yes, how functionable we are even in the stagnants,
Yeah.
And like I'm like, I was still like, if someone were to look at me and like if someone was recording me, or I had a documentary, a camera crew that was following me, they would be like, wow, this was actually, a very productive week for you.
Without realizing what's happening on the inside.
Exactly, because I'm like, I'm genuinely thinking about it now, and I'm like, this was actually a productive week for me. But I didn't see it because, it just, I think, all I'm remembering is all those moments where I almost broke.
Yeah, man.
I think that's the thing. I
being
look
in the eye of the storm.
Exactly. You look at the fact that, you almost had a mental breakdown. You almost died, basically. But you don't look at the fact that you didn't die. And like, once you got out of that valley, you went into another like peak. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
You didn't stay in that moment. And even in that moment, you were moving,
And I think, Rene, even though we are seeing it from a point of just 1 week, it can sometimes be worse.
Exactly. It could be months.
Sometimes it could be months.
Could even be a year.
It could even be a year where you're feeling stagnant. You're like, but then, hey, I prayed about this. Me and God went over this.
God, you said
like,
this, yeah.
How am I going to continue this vision if it feels like I'm not moving at all? I feel stuck all the time. But then it's super cliche, but there's literally always something to take. I think, for one thing, I know for sure is that nothing is wasted. For sure. I look back over my life, guys, and I look forward to what's gonna happen in the next couple of years. I'm super excited because I sometimes look back. I remember during that time, I don't want to get too specific because like I'm saving it for the day where it's just a huge testimony, because I know things are gonna work out. But I always look back and think about, no man, when I was in that specific position, it's not position. There's another word I wanted to use, but yeah. When I was in that specific position, when I was in that specific space, I just felt stuck. It felt like I wasn't going anywhere. And a really small part of me still feels that way. But then I'm seeing things somehow just coming together and it's starting to make sense. And I'm realizing that actually, one of my biggest visions, the one thing I've definitely always wanted to do, I've always wanted to achieve for years, for most of my life, I'm getting closer to it, and it honestly doesn't feel like it. I will say that, but I know it's something that's gonna happen. So I think when we're talking about, obviously we're talking now just about a week, but then I think maybe you're watching and like, but I've been in this position for 3 years. I've been in this position for 3 months. I've been in this position all my life. How do I continue with my version.
Yeah, sure.
And I think basically I just want to say that nothing is wasted. And I, like Ate said, it's so easy to just look at the storm, you know. And I think just take time to reflect and be like, okay, what did I learn there? And sometimes it sounds cliche. I hate that when people tell me, but what did you learn? Like, no, how did I learn? I was in a mess. What do you mean I did I learn? But I always look back and I'm like, okay, I made this mistake here. I know I have to fix it this way. And I know I have to do this way. I know for me, last year, maybe my mistake was that I didn't have a proper journal, if I can put it that way. I didn't have a proper check-in weekly. I never did such things.
Yeah.
But now I do, so that I can be like, okay, now this is what I know. I also have to pray more over. This is where I'm getting at. Okay, how can I improve this, and that? And I think that's the thing about continue the vision and the importance of consistency in doing that, you know. Finding what works for you, being honest with where you have to rest, if you have to rest, being honest with, okay, maybe for some it's like, you feel kidding, you feel like it's not for you anymore, if I could put it like that.
Yeah, like you feel like you just want to let go.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe you should. But then be sure about that. We pray about that and whatsoever. But please, just the importance of consistency, the importance of having someone who will be accountable to you, and all of that.
But I think, honestly, let's be honest, I think it's very easy to say all of that.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, guys, find an accountability partner. But is it realistic? You know? Is it easy to be able to open up when you are drowning?
Which is why I hear you totally. And as someone who almost talks to no one, especially about serious stuff, I talk to almost no one. I think I know there's people I can talk to, but it's not easy to be like, yo, bruh, I don't know.
Then why do you tell people to do that?
I know, because here's the thing. I want to tell you, I think I'm continuing.
Oh, okay, sorry.
As the type of person, obviously, it's something I learned to do just this year. That, okay, there's actually people around me who are willing to help. I think the problem with me was that it took a while to get to a point and be like, okay, hi, I feel stuck like this. I'd like you to help me be accountable in this areas of my life, right? And that's what I saw worked for me. When I finally got to a point where I had to learn that there are people who care, that people who are going to help me in this journey, and I have to allow them to do that.
See, I don't buy that.
You don't buy it?
No, I don't buy that. I think it's very easy to say, guys, find an accountability partner, find someone you can open up to, but I don't think that's very possible. I think I look at, again, I'm going to refer to this week because, again, this week has been, and I look at the fact that when I was going through it all, I didn't open up. And it's not because there's no one to open up to. There are so many people. I remember looking at my phone and be like, okay, who should I text? Who should I talk to? And I remember thinking, no, I actually don't want to talk to anyone.
Okay, fair.
And I think we need to be very honest. We shouldn't give people, the advice that go to find people. And I think it goes back to the thing that, like, you look for people to rely on, to give you answers that they don't have, You come to Ake and you're like, Ake, yo, bruh.
I didn't say
that. No, like, I'm in a mess and I don't know what to do. And, like, honestly, sometimes I don't have the answers, And I think the one thing that maybe we then should say is that be very conscious of your thoughts in that time. I think I look at the fact that in this week, that's the one thing that got me through the week, that I was constantly asking myself, hey, how are you feeling? Do you need help? Do you need to rest? And like I've become very expressive of my emotions personally, not to other people. I've become very
aware
aware, yes. I'm living more in the moment where I'm asking myself, hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And if I'm dying, yes, I'm dying. I feel like dying. But I don't think that telling other people how you're feeling is the solution. You know?
Okay, I get that.
I think I look at another incident. I look at 2 years ago. I posted this on my WhatsApp status the other time. A journal entry, the very first journal entry I've ever made in my life. It was the 15th of September 2019. 23:56.
How?
That was the time. 11:56. It was a time when I was going through like a lot, and but I won't go into that. But like the journal entry was basically me just expressing that, like, I'm going through it all. I'm suffering. At that time, my relationship with God was basically non-existent.
Oh yeah,
yeah, remember that exactly. And I remember the very last paragraph of that journal entry was me saying that I will fix my relationship with God. Things will get better, and it was hope for me. And I think back to that, and I'm like, in that time, I wasn't able to speak to other people. My dad asked me, bruh, what's going on? And I was like, I really don't know. I still have the chat where my dad literally asked me, what's going on? Do you need us to help you? My dad wanted to drive down to Joburg to see me, And I remember telling him that, hey, I'm going through it all. I'm suffering right now, but I don't trust anyone yet to be able to open up and say that this is what I'm going through, because I'm not very sure what I'm going through either. Sometimes you're just in a very unsettled place and you don't know how you're feeling. You don't know what's going on. And as Christians, we believe that we also live in a spiritual realm as much as a physical realm. Sometimes things that are happening are very spiritual. You're going through battles spiritually that you don't see. And it's very difficult to express that. So I don't think we should put too much pressure on people to...
And I do agree with that. I'm just saying that for most part, yes, of course, some stuff you will have to go through alone. But then there's certain stuff that will be able to, you'll be able to carry it better by talking to someone. Okay, maybe that's for me.
But I think should we then say talk to God about it?
Yeah, definitely.
Why shouldn't God be your accountability partner? Why can't he be the one you vent to every single time? I'm saying don't put too much pressure on human beings.
Yeah, that don't. But I'm saying, Lord, if there are people God has appointed in your life, or not.
I guess, but I'm saying I feel
let me say know when to seek counsel. Let's put it that way.
But I still don't agree with that, because again, I think you never know. Sometimes I think it's very relative. Situations are different. Sometimes yes, you need to open up at the start. Sometimes you need to open up when you're already out of the store. But I'm saying with God, you don't need to explain much. You're just like, God. You just get there in prayer and you're like, God. Literally. And you just sigh.
I know. And that's you should know when to seek counsel. Like I said, I know for me when to seek counsel.
Okay. Maybe you do. I personally don't.
Yeah, maybe it's really different for everyone. Maybe because for me, there are sort of there is a specific person who's appointed above me that I also know who disciples me. Let's put it that way, right? So maybe because of that, I know that there's that person I can go to.
But what does discipling do in that time when you're in a storm?
Sometimes it's just that, just to pray over me. Do you get what I mean? Sometimes I'm just please just pray over me. There's a lot that I'm just going through. Please just pray that if maybe there's a word from God for you, for me, through you, or maybe there's something he needs to reveal, please just pray that he opens that so that I don't...
Can I throw another span in the works?
Maybe,
Can I throw another span in the works?
You can. Our time's running out though.
I'm just saying, guys, Okay, I'm gonna try to make this very quick. I think, and like in this year, we're going to talk a lot about our relationship with God. And just to give you guys a preview, we've decided that we're going to be more focused on our relationship with God in dealing with life, you know. And in doing that, I think we need to take a different approach. I think the conventional approach is to go to people, you know.
But
can I finish?
Okay, sorry.
It's to find accountability partners. And I'm looking at my relationship with God and how it's changing, how it's evolving. That, you know, when I started out, I had my siblings, I had friends who would open up to, and you know, it helped at that time. But I'm realizing that in changing my relationship with God, in seeing God in a different perspective, I need to make God my primary point of reference, you know?
Yes.
And I think also in our problems, you know, in that mess, it's very selfish to say, because, like, you know, you might be struggling right now, you might be going through it all. But I think for me, my answer to people is becoming go to God. It's no longer, hey, tell me what your problem is. Cody, let me try to fix your problems. No? Let me try to hear you out. I don't want to hear people out as much as I should anymore. I think we overburden people and ourselves because we put too much pressure on accountability partners, on, you know, having a circle of people you can open up to. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying for me. Hear me out. I'm saying for me. I'm realizing that my relationship with God needs to be that. God needs to be my best friend. He needs to be my boyfriend. Sorry to say this, but like I'm saying, like, all these rules that we've given human beings. Your boyfriend, where you tell your boyfriend everything, where you tell your best friend everything, where you tell your mom, your dad everything. I'm saying, why not take this all to God first?
Yeah? You see,
primary,
yes.
Like, and I'm saying, hear me out. It's building up to something bigger.
Okay.
I know you wanna say something, and I know you agree with me. That's why you wanna say something, because you completely agree with me. But I'm saying that, like, in this year, I wanna do things differently. I want God. I don't want to vent to you. I want to vent to you when I'm giving a testimony. You know, I want God to fix things for me. I want to be able to go to God and be like, "Oh God, this hand curved me today. You know, she ignored my DM." But at the same time, I want to be able to tell him that, God, I'm going through this storm and I don't know what's happening, you know? And I think we need to be more reliant on God. I don't think we're reliant on God enough.
Yes, and I totally agree with that. This is why I said, when you asked the question you did, because yes, I was talking accountability partners. That's when you asked the question I did, hence I said, know when to seek counsel. The Bible even tells us 2 is better than 1, right? And what you're talking about, God being the primary, you don't run to people first. You run to God first. That God, listen, this is the vision you gave me. The year is about to end. And then in our prayers, we talked about maybe you had hoped to see God's hand over a certain area of your life, maybe. Unfortunately, sometimes I gotta give things timelines, you know. But since we're talking about the year, you know, and sometimes you're like, okay, what's popping or what's happening? Like the year's about to end, or not even just the year, because I mean, we literally have lifelong visions, isn't it? Or maybe you're like, okay, it's been 20 years, maybe, or it's been 3 years, I'm still not getting a job, or you know, I'm starting to feel hope.
Let's make it more realistic. Let's say in the past week. Talk about the past week. Okay. As an example.
Let's talk about the past week in example. Actually, like I said, I was talking about how for me it does take a while to open up, but I have found the people. Okay, let me rather say that I've gotten to a point where I am able to open up to the person who pretty much is appointed on me, right? So in the past week, I remember I was just not, and I remember it took me a lot. Like I was like, you know, it's fine. I'll just go through this, I'll be fine. But I remember, like, there was constant hammering that, hey man, why don't you talk to so and so? Why don't you just talk to so and so? And I did, and it really did help me. It really did help me. And like I also talked about how, just a little bit in the beginning, about how the word that I had to remember today, So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's different for both of us. It's different for everyone. It's different for you if you're listening. But just the main thing is to go to God first, right?
Always.
Because the truth of the matter is that if you don't go to God first, when you do go to God, you'll see that things are just going to change like fast. And you realize that why did I run to anything else but Him in the first place, right? And
I don't even think it's about change. I think it's just about God being our confidant.
Yeah.
That. I think
this reminded me of something.
I think we go to I'll give you time. I think we go to God. I think we go to people rather because we are very because we are very, we have an inability to express our emotions, to express what we're feeling, and so we go to people because we're trying to learn that, you're trying to learn how to be more open when you're struggling, how to be more reliant on other beings around you instead of yourself. But I think that in learning that, sure, it's a good practice method to go to more people and open up to people. But I think that God should be, I don't know, I just feel like we're not doing enough with God, we're not doing enough with our relationship with God, where if you were to be locked up in a jail cell today, you wouldn't feel like you're suffering and you're in isolation for the rest of your life because you have God. I think our relationship needs to be like that. We need to come to a point where it feels like we're in isolation for the rest of the year, and the only person you can talk to is God. You have no other choice.
Yeah, true. I get that. But I feel like this might just have to be a topic for another day. Because if we continue, because now the question I'm going to ask to you is that okay, then what is the, maybe I'm not getting you, but the question will be,
I get
what is the point of relationship there? But
I think relationships are secondary.
I think.
But I think we don't see it enough that way. I think we still see human beings as our primary, connections, because we physically see each other. Because I can touch you, I cannot touch God, and I don't know. I'm really trying to get my point across.
Yeah, but
I really hope you guys are understanding me. But I'm saying, guys, think about it this way. See your relationship with God as you being in prison and you're in isolation. You're not seeing any other human being for the rest of your life, and you're only stuck with God. And God is literally the only person you can talk to. See it as that first, before you can then, have accountability partners, before you can have other people, who you can open up to. I'm saying see God there first.
Yeah, that's why.
Wait for God first to speak. Listen to God first. Hear what God has to say before you go to other people.
Yeah.
It's like in a relationship. When you're married, they tell you that, your marriage bed is your war room. You deal with things there first. Then you'll be like, okay, let me go to my parents. Let me hear what my parents are saying.
Which goes back to make the main thing, the primary thing. When you're feeling stuck, when you feel like your vision is not working out or whatever it is, primary, it's God.
Yes.
First.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
You don't run to people first, of course. Hence, I even said that I prayed first, but then even towards the end of the week, that's when I was like, okay. Then, like I said, was like, okay, then why don't you talk to so and so? And they don't give you solutions always.
Yeah.
Maybe because obviously, we can't keep burdening people. But I know for me, maybe because of the type of people that I have, it's people. Usually, I don't always get straight solutions. I'm usually even told to, maybe just a little word here and there. And then the main thing is always, but listen, go to God about it, pray about it. When there is a word, there will be a word.
Yeah.
So, main thing, obviously, talk to God first. If you're feeling stuck, I know we may have went a little bit off topic, but main thing, when you're feeling stuck, when you feel like your vision is not working out, first things first, talk to Jesus.
Yeah, guys, I really will want to emphasize this. And I think that's how I've been feeling. I've just, like, it just hit me right now when you started talking about this, that, like, I feel like we've become too reliant on human beings. I think we open up too much. I'm going to say that. I think we open up too much to human beings. We are overly reliant on our friends, on, people that, firstly, primarily, we can't even express how we feel to ourselves. That we need to open up to other people, but also that we don't know how to open up to God enough. We don't know how to rely on God enough. We're overly reliant on, partners, friends, and, that's what breeds toxic relationships. Codependency. I think we need to be codependent on God. But anyway, I don't want to preach. Yeah, guys, I think we should end it here.
Yeah, because
we said a lot.
If he starts, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we went way above time. But I'm just saying, guys, be codependent on God. I'm seeing so many friendships. I'm seeing so many people in my life who have become so dependent on human beings. I've also been in that place, and I'm saying let's change that. We're going to go more into this again. I said, like, we're going to be working on our relationship with God. We're going to be talking about all these things. So stay tuned. The blog will definitely, try to get this exactly. Try to get the point across more. So it will drop on Monday. Stay tuned for that, and yeah, have an amazing week and weekend. Would love to hear more about your relationship with God, who you rely on. Maybe you feel like, you rely too much on other people. Let us know. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, share this audio, wherever you're listening. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.